It's Thursday, March 26th, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 149. And my name is Chris. Now, this is a bit of an apology right up here at the top of the show. We weren't here yesterday. I was gone for something for my daughter and to make some room for extra work yesterday. But we are back today, and it's kind of exciting because we've gotten some hard, concrete details on some of the hottest devices that are going to be hitting the market soon, as well as one of the best desktops in the world has a brand new version, some big Amazon cloud news, and a couple of sneak peeks at a few things. So we got a great episode today. So to help me tear through all of it is our fully equipped Mumble Room. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hey, guys. So let's get into the first one. I'm pretty excited about this because this is the phone. I think this is the phone to get in 2015 so far. I don't know. I know you're going to be shocked. I think it's the Samsung Galaxy S. Yes, I said Samsung. The Samsung Galaxy S release date is April 10th, and U.S. pre-orders start tomorrow. I'm really, really freaking excited about the S6. I think it's possibly the best phone. So I've actually already pre-ordered the S6 Edge because I'm going to put that on Ting and kind of do a little report for Ting. So I'm kind of doing some sleuthing, and I'll, of course, give you guys a full report, too. So I pre-ordered the Samsung Edge, even though pre-orders go on sale tomorrow. Because I'm doing a little bit extra on the side. I had a hookup, and I decided to go with the 64-gigabyte Samsung Edge. This is going to be the first Samsung device I have bought since... Actually, I can't remember the last Samsung device I bought myself. Oh, yeah, I do. The Tab. Yeah, the Tab. But this, for some reason, it did it for me. Just to remind you of the specs, it's a monster. It's got the Samsung's processor running at 1.5 gigahertz for the slow cores, and then 4 cores at 2.1 gigahertz, 3 gigabytes of RAM. It's got a crazy screen, and a great rear-facing camera with an f1.9 stop, which people are saying is incredible. I'm pretty excited about it, and the benchmarks, it looks like it's a pretty good screamer. And so April 10th is the ship date, and pre-orders start tomorrow, March 27th. And to sort of match up the phone news, we also have HTC's M9 to go on sale, $649 tonight for unlocked. Of course, if you're going to, you go up too far, it's going to get pretty expensive. But if you would like to get yourself an M9, you can, and you can do it tonight. It's 2 Cadillac phones. Mumble Room. Anybody tempted by one of these phones? I don't know about unlocked, but anybody tempted by one of these new flagship phones that are hitting the market tonight and tomorrow?
I am. Galaxy S6.
Yeah. Oh, hey, finally! Every time I say I'm getting the S6, everybody's like, "Oh, Chris, what are you doing?" And I will stand my ground today. I will bet you. I will hedge that in a couple of months it'll be universally agreed this is the best Android phone ever made. I think so. I think it has a serious lock on that.
After all the great reviews of the original HTC Ones, I'm really tempted by the M9, but I just don't pay that much for phones.
Well, let's assume you could get it on contract for $299. Is that more appealing to you?
Well, since learning about Ting, I don't do contracts either.
I agree, and in fact, this Edge is the most. I decided, even though I'm going to be doing something for Ting and for Jupiter Broadcasting, I decided so that way I didn't feel any pulls. I paid for it out of pocket, which was the most expensive, and it's probably the last phone I'll buy for a while. But I truly think 2 things are interesting about this phone. First of all, I think the Edge stuff. My initial impression is it's a total gimmick, but I want to actually test that and see if my theory is true or not, because watching some of the reviews, I actually see some use for it. Like the notification stuff's nice. It's set so it can only light that edge. So you can set the phone down and it can bring up a clock and notification information and light that dimly for 12 hours. That's kind of neat because I use my phone as my alarm clock. I like that functionality of it. There's certain things like the call light up. So I have my phone right now, my Nexus 5, face down on the table here while I'm doing the show. If I could get colors to tell me who the message or call is from, that's actually kind of convenient. Of course, I'll probably have a watch to do it too. But all of these things came together, and the final thing for me was Samsung seems to have sort of clicked into. They are a little bit. They're stepping back a little bit from TouchWiz, and they're actually starting with the S6. They're going to allow you to remove the Samsung apps and even remove Google apps. Like in the screenshots, you can apparently even remove the Play Store if you want. And so that's something that I think is new for Samsung. Is they're kind of taking back the reins a little bit, and they're like, so another example of they've kind of given up a little bit on S voice in the S6. It's still there, but now when you double tap the home button, instead of launching S voice, it launches the camera in less than a second. Like, it's really fast. You can be on any screen of the phone. Yeah, and the camera is a huge thing for me because I got 3 kids that are moving around all the time. So you double tap the home button instead of S voice. Now you get their beautiful camera, and I think that's a nice maneuver. Also, that home button now has a fingerprint reader, kind of like Touch ID in the iPhone. This is the first Android device that has legitimate fingerprint reading, not that 1980s sliding bull crap, but something where you put your finger on the thumb, you put your thumb on the home button, and it unlocks it as you're opening your phone. And if you've never tried it on the iPhone, it's a game changer, because what it means is, I know it sounds stupid, but what it means is as you reach into your pocket and you pull out your phone, you put your phone in so that way the home button's facing up in your pocket, you put your hand in your pocket, you put your thumb on that home button, you slide the phone around in your hand, and by the time the phone is even up in your face, it's unlocked and ready to go. And it's really quite nice because you don't have to sit there and enter the PIN when you're doing a purchase or anything like that. Like, and another thing is there's third-party apps that now take advantage of it, like LastPass. If you want to get in my LastPass vault, you got to have a second factor of code, my master password, and now my thumbprint. That's awesome. And Samsung's going to allow developers out of the box to integrate that functionality. Now, will they? Who knows? But maybe now that Samsung has it, the other OEMs will have to compete, and they'll do it too. And that's what I care more about.
I'd love to hear what you have to say about the camera, because being a budget phone purchaser, the one thing that could push me to paying $600-ish for a phone would be an amazing camera.
Yeah, that's I think the jury's not fully in on it right now, but I've read a few reviews. So here's the basic stats. So I'm looking at the Edge, but I think the S6 and the Edge are essentially the same in the camera department. It's a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera with optical image stabilization. That's huge. Right? That's huge. Optical image stabilization. Only a few cameras really have that. But it's that f-stop, that 1.9 f-stop. I don't know why I'm losing my voice this morning. That 1.9 f-stop is like, there's one other phone on the market, and it's one of those crazy high-end Nokia camera phones. So what that low f-stop means is low light performance is going to be killer. In fact, it already is killer. The reviews already say it's killer. It also means it takes pictures faster in low light too, which is really nice, and the pictures are less blurry. The front-facing camera is a 5 megapixel and also has a 1.9 f-stop, which means those front-facing selfies that are sometimes in darker light are going to look a lot better. The camera shoots video in 4K video, and the reviews of the 4K video are actually quite good. Of course, you can bring that down to 720p if you want. But as far as camera goes, some are saying that one of the best cameras in an Android device, on a current Android device, was the Note 4. And now this camera is supposed to be even better than the Note 4 camera. So I don't know yet myself. I'm pretty picky, but I'm pretty excited to try it. And it looks like the other thing and the key thing, and this is such the key thing for me with Android, is it looks like when you press the picture button, it actually takes the picture that instant. And on my Nexus, that is certainly not the case. I wouldn't say it's, it feels like 10 years. It's probably barely perceivable, but there is a delay. There's such a delay that I almost consistently get bad pictures on my Nexus because the delay is just enough that it just misses the moment or whatever. I'm taking blurs or whatever happens. And so I'm really, really looking forward to an Android device that finally takes a picture, what some reviewers are saying, faster than the iPhone 6.
Yeah, amen to that. That's exactly what I need, is also a father trying to capture that moment. I have to take multiple pictures and hope that one of them captured kind of the moment. Yeah,
and I got to be honest, the iPhone 6 is like, 1 in every 3 shots is a good one. And on my Nexus 5, 1 in every 20 shots is a good one. And I'm not exaggerating that range at all. And the only thing that saves the Nexus 5 a little bit is I have Google Photos turned on, and it uploads them to Google+. And Google Plus sometimes does some auto awesome stuff, or it does like a mix of all the bad photos that kind of makes it salvageable. Or like what it did when I went to my daughter's recital yesterday morning, is it combined all of the videos I took into one master video and like did transitions and stuff, and took the really crappy stuff that I was doing and actually kind of made it look good because it applied like a lighting filter in some spots and stuff like that and cleaned it up. But it's only because of Google's back-end software that I am able to kind of barely make up the difference between the iPhone 6 and the Nexus 5. So, and this has universally been my opinion on Android phones for a long time, that the camera fails to, usually it's like either super high resolution, but it's bad at this, like it's slow to take the picture, or like all of these, all these different like limitations. And finally, I think they kind of nailed it with the S6. I'm going to wait to see for sure, but I think the camera is one of the things I'm the most optimistic about. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great phone. I'll give you guys my full review. And I might even you might even see eventually something on the Ting website about it, if I'm lucky. And I went with the other reason I went with the Edge is the pure aesthetics of swiping the stuff around the edge. I think that might get me. But I really wanted to find out if it's a gimmick. That was my because when I first saw Samsung, I'm such a dick. My reaction when I saw that announced was like, ugh. Of course, Samsung. You couldn't just make one phone and make it great. You couldn't just focus on one design and put everything into it. You had to go to a committee and split your designs because you couldn't come to a consensus. And then I kind of rethought it a little bit, and I thought, well, would I like a curved screen? Would I like the way that looks? Does that make me think of Star Trek? Does thinking of Star Trek make me very happy? The answer to all those questions was yes. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe I should try it out, because maybe if I buy it and other people buy it and it actually turns out to work, maybe I'll start getting more devices that have curved glass. And I kind of like that. And so I started thinking about that and all the other aspects to the Edge screen. And, this is worth a shot. Maybe I should give Samsung a fair shot. Now, Rikai here in the studio thinks I'm totally crazy. He thinks I'm going to hate it within weeks, and then I'm going to want to flash it. Oh, and Chase also thinks I'm crazy. Chase thinks I'm nuts for getting he thinks I should just get a Nexus 6 or a OnePlus, and he's probably right. All right. Any other thoughts on these new phones before we move on, guys?
Yeah, it's got to be stock Android for me.
Yeah.
The TouchWiz, when I bought my S3, I thought that I would keep TouchWiz around, and that lasted about 18 hours before I flashed it with Cyanogen mod.
Yeah, I hear that. The only thing that kind of made me change my opinion on that a little bit is the Moto X series. Like, universally, pretty much everybody says, I like the changes they made. Like, here's an example of changes to Android that can be good. And I would actually hold up Cyanogen as another example of that. There is a way to customize Android in a way that it makes it a superior experience. And I think Cyanogen, number one example of that, but also like the Moto X skin on top of Android is another example of that. So where am I going with this? Is that TouchWiz? No. But Samsung's genuinely going in that direction. Not like partially going in that direction, but like genuinely letting you turn off Samsung stuff. They're going in that direction. Now, the other component to stock Android that's way more important than customizations and preloaded apps is actual updates from Google. That is where I suspect I will go off the rails. I am not going to have a high-end new smartphone and have it, sit for 6 months when Android 5.2 comes out. Like, that's going to grind my gears like nothing else, because I got 5.1 on the Nexus 5, and I was a little pissy that it took like a week to get the update or whatever it was. I'm like, come on, I got a Nexus 5. What's taking so long? I know they roll it out. I know how it works. I didn't care. I wanted it right now. That's why I also roll rolling Linux distributions, and if I ever go install Windows, you're damn right I'm going to use Windows 10. Why the hell wouldn't I? That's how I roll, literally. So I don't want to sit around for 6 months for Samsung to finally flash my phone with the latest TouchWiz enhanced version of Android 5.2. I think that's where I'm going to go off the rails. My hope, two-factor. Samsung's actually got their S together for a little while. Samsung S. They got their S together for a little while with this new Galaxy line because they're doubling down and really genuinely trying to get the market share back because they got their butt kicked this last year. So I'm hoping they recognize that a huge component of shipping a flagship device like this is also flagship support. We'll see. I don't know why I think that's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to be totes wrong, making a big bet there. But what I hope is the hardware itself is so sexy that it sells so well that the community starts to make a ROM for it. And I have hope because on the XDA forums, they've already got ROM dumps. There's already people that have the S6 in hand working in the XDA forum and I think they've already got it rooted. So that they're already on the right course. So I'm pretty excited about that. So even if Samsung totally bones me, I hope that, say, 6, 7 months down, 8 months after it's been on the market, where I'm really going to be starting to feel that, maybe the XDA community has come up with something that I could jump to. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Because that's usually where Samsung falls down. All right, we should probably stop talking about phones, right? Unless any other comments on phones, and then we can move on. Anybody want to make the last word, or is that it? Okay.
Nope, chat room's restless.
Yeah, we'll move on. All right, just a real quick thing for those of you who want to save money. We're talking about expensive phones, and now it's going to make us all broke. Amazon Cloud Drive Storage is going unlimited. $11.99 a year for photos, $59.99 for everything. Huge. Huge. So huge. because my wife Angela and I have been talking about her photo situation, and she's been seriously considering Amazon because they already had one of the more competitive prices. She trusts them, you know, their brand, et cetera, et cetera. And also there's benefits to storing your cloud. I hate the term cloud. There's also benefits to storing your photos on Amazon's file servers they have in a data center attached to a network that is connected to the internet. They then allow you to distribute those photos to like end devices like your tablets and the Amazon Fire TV and stuff like that. So there's some other perks to having them up there. This is unbelievably competitive pricing. And of course, Amazon's in one of the best positions to do this. I would say probably the only other company better positioned would be Goog's, but Amazon's here first. $11.99 per year, unlimited photos. Now, my wife has got like 600 gigs of photos now. So that is incredible for $11.99. And you can get, just for comparison, Dropbox is $10 for a terabyte a month. You get 2 gigs free. Google charges $10 a month for a terabyte. That's what I'm paying Google right now, just because of my photo backup I mentioned earlier. Which, you know, Amazon's a lot more attractive because I'm paying Google $10 a month. If you want to pay Google like 30 terabytes, that's like $300 a month. Now, Angela uses Backblaze currently, and we've used CrashPlan in the past, and both of those offer unlimited backup for about the same price. I think I think Backblaze is like $6 a month, and that's a strict backup system. And if you need backup for your computer, that might be a good way to go. These photo services are a little different because they integrate with external services and Amazon's own services. So it's not just a backup, but you're also getting the benefit of like a nearline gallery viewer on Android and things like that. So it's a little bit one step removed than these other unlimited storage features. So this is pretty competitive. Of course, you know they're going to integrate this into Fire OS. You know, and it wouldn't be surprised at some point as pricing gets cheaper and cheaper, perhaps this becomes a perk more and more of Prime down the road. I mean, if you think about where the Kindle started, $300, and now you can get a Kindle for under $100. As the price comes down, Amazon traditionally has lowered the cost for the customer. It's one of the reasons people love Amazon, and one of the reasons why Amazon doesn't make any money. And so if they can do this for when people buy, you buy a Fire tablet, you get a year of Prime, and you get with that year of Prime, you get a year of all that streaming of video and unlimited cloud backup. Holy crap. That would really be something. What do you think, Lexi? Or Lexel? Lexal?
Ixel. Yeah. No, so this reminds me of the Forbes article on Cyanogen Mod, or Cyanogen Inc. now, as it should be called.
Right, of course.
And how, it would be really hard in the current ecosystem of Android to just integrate this into the camera and get that automatic backup that you get with Google Plus on most Android phones, which is great. You take a picture, it's automatically backed up, it does some processing for you, and it's easy to share. How hard is it or easy is it going to be to switch to doing that with this Amazon service?
Oh, man. Right? I mean, isn't that the ultimate lock-in? Your most precious memories. That's more important than doc formats and spreadsheet formats and presentations. That's way more important lock-in. Your most your babies, your weddings, your beloved family members, your dick pics, all stored up on Amazon, and it's such a bitch to move it, especially when you're like my wife. What is she going to do, dude? She's going to pull down 600 gigabytes to her machine and then upload 600 gigabytes to another machine? That would take literally weeks.
Yep, and then, if you have to go through an extra step, okay, I spent all afternoon taking a bunch of pictures, we just got back to the house, we've got a million things to do, but I need to go do this extra step to get them to Amazon, I'm probably not going to use it.
Well, that it might be a problem that solves itself, because you just import it to your computer and there's software that uploads it in the background, or you just take it on your smartphone and there's software on your smartphone that uploads in the background.
I'd like to point out that Dropbox, the Dropbox app on Android also has an auto photo backup feature.
And that's how my photos. That's how my Photos app, the Google Photos app. It just in the background after I take the picture. Whenever I'm on Wi-Fi, it backs them up, and it just does it silently. I don't even remember it's doing it until I go log into Google Plus and I see photos there. Oh yeah, I took that. It's great because it's totally transparent. But I have never even considered how I would get the photos out of there, which is not usual for me. I know Google has the data liberation page. My bet is they would just let me download a huge tar GZ or something. That's a pretty scary thought. I'm going to think about that more. You know what?
Or maybe if you're using something like InSync, you can just pull them out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they're actually in Drive, though, so much. I think they use your drive storage, but they're not like in a folder in Drive so much. I might be wrong on that. I've also looked at services like Picture Life, which are dedicated picture backup services and cross-platform, but it's a really difficult decision to make, and it's a problem that for me is with a father of 3. I would be devastated if I ever lost those photos. Devastated. Hey, let's talk about some good news. This is really exciting for a lot of you in our audience. I want it. GNOME 3.16 was released today, and it is looking like maybe the best GNOME ever with over 33,000 changes, big and small. Oh my gosh. I think everybody's favorite new feature in GNOME 3.16 is the new Schmexy notification center, which really, really looks good. But, instead of going through all of it, we have an end of show video that I'll play for you guys that highlights the features. But anybody have a shout out? So their new favorite thing in GNOME 3.16? Are you guys excited?
Very. Notifications.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's got to be everybody's, right? Because that's the big change. Woo! That looks good, too. No more hidden shelf. Yeah, I agree. Also, one of the other things that I'm trying to remember, I can't remember exactly the details, but now on high DPI displays, when you resize windows and drag them around, Mutter will use GPU acceleration to do that instead of CPU acceleration. It traditionally did GPU acceleration on non-high DPI displays, but I guess on high DPI it couldn't, which, go figure, that's the biggest penalty, because you have that huge resolution you have to scale the windows up to. So to sort of not have GPU acceleration at that time, that's like the worst time. So this looks, I'm hoping that just that on my XPS 13, I'll probably notice a little bit of what seems like a performance improvement. So I'm really looking forward to that, and all the other features too. And we'll have a review on the Linux Action Show once it's out. It'll probably take a few weeks before it hits my distro. All right, so before we run, teespring.com/Linux, help us raise funds for our Linux Fest Northwest coverage. You guys know how excited I am about this. This is going to be huge. And I just talked to Alan, and I got his travel confirmation, and him and Chris Moore will be staying at the same hotel, so we'll have the BSD guys contained and isolated, so that'll be good. And we'll have probably a hell of an after party Saturday night, but there's going to be a mini one Friday night, too, board games put on by Fedora. So if you're going to be in town, join us for that. But even if you're not, you can still grab a shirt, a hoodie. We have ones for ladies and kids, too. Go to teespring.com/Linux. We got the big, gorgeous Linux Action Show logo in there, and it really looks good on print. And the funds we raise there will help us afford the costs for Linux Fest Northwest, which are minty and plentiful. And you can also support those by going over to teespring.com/today. We're at 468. I was hoping we get to 470 this week. It's our last chance. It's our last episode today because I'm... Ange is out of town, my wife, tomorrow, so I'm going to be home with the kiddos. I will not be doing any shows tomorrow. I'm taking the day off to spend with the kiddos, and Saturday, too. So I won't have another show to bag, but if you would like to help us out, we are seriously in the crunch time right now over at patreon.com/today, because the funds there not only help towards Linux Fest Northwest, but future initiatives, too, which we want to do more and more of. I'm really looking forward to the Fest coverage. I think we can really do a good job of it. We've got the technology down, we've got the connections down, we've got the crew to do it, and the will. So I really would love to keep that going. So patreon.com/today is a great way to do it. Okay, guys. So before we get out of here, I'm going to roll this GNOME video. But you all know the drill. You show up live, jblive.tv. We do this show Tuesday through Fridays. Well, most of the time, you go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. Kind of depends on the life. When the wife is out of town, for example, I can't really do a show. So no show tomorrow, but I'll be back on Tuesday. And you can join me at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and hang out in the mumble room, hang out in the chat room, bang suggest chat room, hint, hint, hint. Ah, there you go. Good job, JB Live 6. Boom. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one, Rotten. Oh, I like both those. Thanks, guys. All right, so we'll leave today with this GNOME video and back here next week. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you on Sunday for the Linux Action Show. Have a great week, everybody.
Spring has come to the Northern Hemisphere, and so has a new release of GNOME. This release, we are bringing you new streamlined theming and a better development experience. Several applications have been revamped. For example, GNOME's image viewer, which now features new user interface controls. Files has also received some love, with simplified pop-over menus and improved file view. GNOME 3.16 also brings new visuals to GNOME Shell. This includes the Activities overview, the Application menu, and the System menu. GNOME Shell also provides an improved design of the notification system. These improvements aim to make notifications in GNOME more discoverable, but also easy to get out of your way. This cycle features 3 new GNOME apps. One of them is a preview of GNOME Calendar, an app which helps you plan ahead. GNOME Calendar integrates with your online accounts, so you can take your calendar with you on the go. This release also features a preview of GNOME Books, a new application for your book reading needs. Furthermore, this release brings a preview of Builder, a new application for developers. Builder is an IDE aiming to improve the developer experience on GNOME. Thanks to more than 500 donors, the project was successfully crowdfunded. If you want to help improve the developer experience too, visit the crowdfunding campaign in the description below. GTK also aims to improve the development experience this cycle, with many improvements to the GTK Inspector support for OpenGL and a Mir backend. Finally, GNOME 3.16 ships an improved glib, aiming to make life much easier for C developers. The new GNOME release is available for you as a live image to try now. GNOME 3.16 will be shipped by many distributions in the near future. GNOME is made by people for people. Help us make GNOME better by getting involved today.